August 24th, 79 AD. Normal morning in Pompeii. People are buying bread, kids are playing. Then Mount Vesuvius explodes. Here's exactly what happened. First, a column of ash shoots 20 miles into the sky. For 6 hours, volcanic debris rains down. The city gets buried under 6 feet of pumice. Then comes the killer blow: pyroclastic flows. These are clouds of superheated gas and rock. They move at 450 miles per hour at temperatures of 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing survives. The city was buried so fast that people were preserved exactly where they died. A baker with bread still in his oven. A family huddled together in their final moments. A gladiator still chained in his cell. Here's what should keep you awake at night. Vesuvius is still active, and 3 million people now live in its shadow. If you want to learn about more lost cities, hit that subscribe button now. We're just getting started with these incredible stories. Trust me, what's coming next will blow your mind. But Pompeii wasn't history's first volcanic victim. 1,500 years earlier, an even more catastrophic eruption destroyed what might be the real Atlantis. Akrotiri was a Bronze Age city on the Greek island of Thera. This was 3,600 years ago, before the pyramids were finished, before Troy fell. The city was incredibly advanced. Multi-story buildings with indoor plumbing, stunning frescoes showing monkeys and exotic plants, hot and cold running water in every home. Around 1600 BCE, Thera exploded in one of history's most violent volcanic eruptions. The blast was heard 3,000 miles away. It created tsunamis 40 feet high that devastated the entire Mediterranean. The explosion was so massive it blew out the center of the island. Unlike Pompeii, the residents of Akrotiri had warning. No human remains have been found. They escaped, but their city was buried under 200 feet of ash. Many scholars believe this disaster inspired Plato's story of Atlantis, an advanced island civilization that vanished into the sea in a single day. But volcanoes aren't the only city killers. Sometimes the ground itself betrays entire civilizations. Meet Thonis Herakleion, Egypt's most important port city that literally sank into the sea. For over 1,000 years, this was where East met West. Greek merchants traded with Egyptian pharaohs. Massive temples honored the gods. The population reached hundreds of thousands, but there was a problem. The city was built on clay and silt, unstable ground that couldn't handle the weight. When earthquakes hit, the soil liquefied. Imagine waking up one morning and your entire city is sinking. Streets cracking open, buildings tilting, the harbor flooding. Within hours, one of the ancient world's greatest cities was underwater. Today, colossal statues of pharaohs lie 30 feet underwater. They stare up at a world that forgot they existed. Only 5% of the city has been excavated. The rest remains buried under the Mediterranean. Not all cities die from natural disasters. Sometimes they're killed by economics and politics. Great Zimbabwe was the heart of a powerful African empire. It controlled southern Africa's gold trade for 400 years. This wasn't some primitive settlement. We're talking about massive stone walls up to 36 feet high, built without mortar. The Great Enclosure alone used over 1 million granite blocks. At its peak, 20,000 people lived here. Great Zimbabwe was the New York of medieval Africa. Gold, ivory, and copper flowed through here to Indian Ocean ports. Chinese porcelain and Persian glass flowed back. The rulers became incredibly wealthy. But by the 1400s, the trade routes shifted. Portuguese explorers found new sea routes to India. The gold mines were exhausted. Political rivals emerged. The economic foundation of the empire crumbled. Within decades, this great city was abandoned. The stone walls that took centuries to build were left to the elements. By the time European explorers arrived, local people had forgotten who built it. European colonists refused to believe Africans could have built something so sophisticated. They invented wild theories about Phoenicians or the Queen of Sheba. It took until the 1970s for archaeologists to prove the obvious. This was a masterpiece of African civilization. Sometimes disasters strike slowly. They give people time to see their doom approaching, but no power to stop it. The ancestral Pueblo people built an incredible civilization in Mesa Verde. For 700 years, they thrived. Advanced farming, stunning architecture, complex society. They built entire cities into cliff faces, some with over 150 rooms. At their peak, tens of thousands lived here. Then came the mega drought of the 1200s. Year after year, no rain. Crops failed. Rivers dried up. Tree ring data shows it was the worst drought in 2,000 years. Archaeological evidence shows the final years were brutal. Violence, starvation, even cannibalism. Entire communities turned on each other as resources dwindled. By 1300 AD, Mesa Verde was completely abandoned. An entire civilization just walked away and never came back. Sound familiar? We're seeing the same pattern today. California's mega droughts. The Syrian civil war, partly triggered by crop failures. Climate refugees fleeing rising seas. But the most chilling example comes from our modern era. Pripyat, Ukraine, 1986. A model Soviet city, home to 50,000 people. This was supposed to be the future. Perfect apartments, well-maintained parks, schools, hospitals. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant provided clean energy and good jobs. Young families moved here for a better life. April 26th, 1:23 a.m. Reactor 4 at Chernobyl explodes. A routine safety test goes catastrophically wrong. The reactor core melts down. It spews radioactive material across Europe. Within 36 hours, every single resident was evacuated. They were told to pack light. They'd return in 3 days. Parents grabbed their children, leaving behind everything they'd worked for. That was 38 years ago. Today, Pripyat is a ghost city. Nature has reclaimed the streets. The famous Ferris wheel stands frozen. Radiation levels are still too high for permanent habitation. One nuclear accident created an instant lost city. And there are 440 nuclear reactors operating worldwide right now. Here's the terrifying truth. Our modern cities face the same threats, but on a much larger scale. Tokyo sits on multiple fault lines with 37 million people. Naples has 3 million people living next to an active volcano. Miami and Venice are slowly sinking due to rising seas. Istanbul is overdue for a major earthquake. We've just looked at 6 cities that housed millions of people combined. Pompeii had 15,000 residents. Great Zimbabwe controlled an empire. Thonis Heracleion was Egypt's gateway to the world. All gone. But here's what gives me hope. Every lost city we rediscover teaches us something crucial about survival and resilience. Pompeii taught us about volcanic warning signs. Akrotiri showed us how early warning systems save lives. Mesa Verde revealed the dangers of climate change. Great Zimbabwe demonstrated how economic diversity prevents collapse. We now have earthquake early warning systems, volcanic monitoring networks, climate modeling that our ancestors couldn't imagine. We can't prevent disasters, but we can prepare for them. We build earthquake-resistant skyscrapers. We have tsunami warning systems. We're developing floating cities for rising seas. We're learning from the past to protect our future. Right now, archaeologists are uncovering new lost cities every year. Each one tells the same story. Civilizations that thought they were permanent until they weren't. The people of Pompeii went to bed thinking tomorrow would be ordinary. The families of Pripyat kissed their children goodnight. They never knew they'd never see home again. The merchants of Great Zimbabwe couldn't imagine their empire would crumble. These forgotten cities teach us the most important lesson of all. Nothing lasts forever, but human resilience does. We rebuild, we remember, and we carry on. The question isn't whether disaster will strike again, it's whether we'll be ready. If this video opened your eyes to how fragile our world really is, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell for more eye-opening content about the forces that shape our planet. And let me know in the comments, which lost city surprised you the most?